Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of FitzRupee Cast featuring Dawn of War 2 Retribution. Red-Rupee here with you as always, and we've got some one-on-one retail action tonight. As you can see, we are looking at the sulfur-encrusted terrain of Ashes of Typhon over here. But before we get started, I wanted to mention a few folks out there feeling particularly competitive and want to get some good games in on your Dawn of War 2 evenings from here on through the winter. Dow2 I'm just going to steal the page, the little blurb that Dow2 Elite put up there. And you guys can head over there. They're starting a winter league, and it'll be some good games happening over there. I think the registration goes through December 9th, and then the league itself goes through January or so. So check that out if you're looking to get some games. It is a Russian site, so if you don't speak Russian, you'll have to translate a little bit of that. But there's a nice, easy link right there, Dow2 Elite. I'll be sure to put it in the video description. Sorry about that as well. And anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at our players tonight. A couple of folks you probably won't recognize, but some good games, I promise. Mr. Alexx1984 with a couple extra X's there, because you know he's serious, as the Eldar Warlock. And then Rumpelstilzchen as the Space Marine Force Commander. So a couple pretty nasty melee commanders. Force Commander obviously starts off with his battle cry, which will buff the units nearby him, and the Warlock going for a little bit more direct damage with his Destructor spell, and we'll have to see which war gears they go from there. So Ashes of Typhon, of course, a very large map, I feel like, as far as one-on-one. Pretty tricky to play, I think, against Eldar because they're so nimble and quick. So Space Marine's going to really have to play their engagements right because it's such a long time to retreat back to your base from these VPs and then get back out onto the field. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I'm sure if Alex is on his game, we'll be seeing some warp gates here as time goes on. 2 Guardians, 2 Scouts, some Banshees, and some Tax on the field. Pretty standard opening as far as that kind of thing goes. No power popped yet. Warlock not choosing to be aggressive. A lot of times we'll see early game these Warlocks will fleet of foot across the map and try to engage, knock out a couple scouts, get a quick Destructor off, and either weaken them up for the next coming engagements or at least try to scare them off and prevent a little bit of early capping. With both players starting off pretty reserved here, Alex is going to grab himself the contested VP nice and quick and start ticking off some points from Rumpelstilzchen. So obviously, the kind of intrinsic value of this VP over here is not necessary to state, but really a lot of high-end games tend to revolve around this lower lane over here. Really, if you can keep track of your capping squads and win a lot of those engagements on the lower part of the map, it can really pay off in the long run. Anyways, Warlock's trying to scare off those scouts. That's exactly how you want to play it. Get those Banshees nice and clear. Force Commander does surprisingly get a quick shot off on those Banshees and does some heavy damage. Meanwhile, the Scouts are coming in. They're going to be able to get an explosive shot off and force the Banshees away. Warlock was just a bit out of position. Normally, I think it's a little better to maybe just engage the Tax with the Warlock and then use the 2 Guardian squads to focus down the Scouts, because those Scouts aren't going to be able to take any sort of sustained focus fire there. And by scaring the Scouts off, it actually bought them time to pull the Warlock away. He wasn't doing any damage. And then by the time he got back to the fight, he was too low, had to retreat, and opened up the Scouts to turn around and give those Banshees one last blast. Normally, really, when it comes down to it, though, you kind of don't even want Banshees to engage anything in the Space Marine arsenal until they get their aspect upgrade, which, of course, gives them their HAL, their fleet of foot, and a little chunk of extra XP as well. Or, sorry, HP, not XP. Little extra hit points really goes a long way for these early level 1 Banshees. So we've got Scouts getting shot up by Guardians over here. Let's see if a grenade goes down. It is going to go down. Is Rumpelstilzchen paying attention? No, he's not. There goes the whole squad. An early loss for him. Force Commander getting beat up in the meantime by Banshees and a Warlock. Scouts still haven't used their explosive shot. Picking off Banshees down to 1 model. They dropped the explosive shot, but she was already retreating. And in the meantime, that Warlock's going to be able to focus them down. Drops the Destructor after getting up off of his back, but they had already hit the retreat button, so it did negligible damage. And it's a 2-0 cap against Alexx1984. He almost got pushed back right there. Rumpelstilzchen obviously recognized that grenade and must have just been a second too late in moving his scouts. All 3 generators now going down for Alexx, and Rumpelstilzchen sitting on just the one, going for those quick assault marines. And possibly bringing those scouts back. He's saving up. Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what he just bought right there. So we're going to see those scouts returning, and I really think it's good to have double scouts against Eldar, especially on a map this size. You really need the capping power, and you need at least one of those to stay with your tax and have that shotgun blast ready for the Banshees or the Warlock. But it looks like Alexx is probably going to have a pretty solid tech lead here, unless Rumpelstilzchen gets these generators up relatively soon or gets a nice gen bash in. Alexx has his full gen farm up, plus an additional power node over here on this side of the map. And a triple cap against him right now, and this is not where you want to be hanging out. Looks like I heard someone shout grenade, but it looks like it didn't quite go off as the assault marines came in. But they're not going to be able to support this side of the map. Really, the 2 battle groups he's got right now are pretty suited for dealing with the 2 threats that are on the field. The Banshee's going to get focused down. The Sarge coming down on those scouts. They're taking some focus fire, but those Banshees just getting forced off too quick in these engagements here. And I'd be surprised. I mean, I feel like a shuriken would really go a long way in dealing with this right now, but we'll have to see how this plays out. Warlock now upgraded with a Champion's Roam and the Merciless Witchblade, of course, giving him an energy shield and that nasty Witchblade, which, as we can see, doing heavy damage to those attacks. He just managed to take one out right there and now falling back. Of course, with his ranged attack with that weapon, he'll also be doing constant knockdowns, so he can kind of keep that Force Commander out of the fight so long as he's not using his battle cry. Can also use it kind of aggressively like that to force the Force Commander's battle cry and make him use that to get up from the knockback off of the Merciless Witchblade and kind of try to make him burn that cooldown before the engagement. So 418 to 372 right now. Alexx still sticking with this light tier 1. He's had to spend quite a bit of rec to make up for the Banshee losses throughout these first few engagements. His Banshees have lost quite a few members. And opening with these Banshees, that's really not what you want to do. We're going to have to see how this works out. I don't think they're going to survive this melee, though. There goes the battle cry, and now with the Force Commander and the assaults getting buffed there, and now the Warlock comes in, and I think that's a bit of a mistake. Little admonition there. Don't send your Banshees in first. Really, especially with this energy shield. Nice grenade, however, and the Warlock picking off a second one. But finishing my thought, with that energy shield, there's no reason to open the engagement with your Warlock. Start hacking away, and then once that Force Commander either uses his battle cry or, I mean, with the Merciless Witchblade, you can even actually just take him out before he can use it. There goes one last poke, and down falls the Force Commander as well. Big win for Alexx there. He just picked off 2 Assault Marines and the Force Commander. But yeah, open with the Warlock. He can tank tons of damage with his current build and really make it easy for those Banshees to then approach afterwards, after the main threats have been dealt with, and kind of clean up. But I'm surprised Alexx hasn't gotten himself a 4 squad, either Rangers or a Shuriken. Trying to keep it light, I guess. He's got plenty of requisition, though. He can hit tier 2 whenever the time suits him. Not quite paying attention, perhaps, or maybe saving up a little rec to buy something else and then hit tier 2. But at this point, there's no reason he shouldn't be teching up. Nice point-blank grenade spike. Didn't do too much damage. The Guardian falls. But it's always good to try to soften up these assault squads and start whittling away at their HP before the main engagements start. When there's no Apothecary on the field, it really pays off to have them not at full health once the Banshees and Warlock come in to start picking off those models. Tier 2's finally hit for Alexx right here. Rumpelstilzchen probably going to be hitting that button here soon and moving into the next tier. Warlock moving way ahead, but he's going to have to be careful as he's not sure where all the forces of Rumpelstilzchen are. So everything's getting ready to focus down this Warlock. He needs to get out of there before any sort of assault lead comes in. Looks like the assaults are instead going to choose to try to engage these Guardians. All of the leaders already queued up. You can see the Guardian and Banshee Exarchs already queued up there. Guardians not quite getting out of there in time, losing quite a few models it looks like. Banshees in the meantime getting into a melee scuffle with these tactical Marines. Force Commander turning around to help beat those Banshees away. But in the meantime, that Warlock's doing some heavy damage to those scouts. Alex really needs to be a bit more careful with his Banshees, I think. Of course, he's not been losing the squad, but losing 3 or 4 Banshees per engagement is really going to cost you in the long run. He's gotten a couple good engagements, all things considered, taking out those couple assaults, and taking out the Force Commander early really paid off as well. But other than that, if it wasn't for that, I think, Force Commander loss, he'd probably be a lot more behind on the Requisition game right here. Force Commander went for the Iron Halo, which is a curious choice against the Merciless Witchblade. I mean, the Merciless Witchblade is kind of a direct counter to that. It burns energy with every strike, and of course that's going to make it more difficult for the Force Commander to use his battle cry as well. So we've got the Assault Sarge on the field, which will make them a lot more suited for dealing with those Banshees. A grenade forced off the scout squad on this side of the map, and you can see, like, these Guardians are constantly over here capping, constantly harassing the Space Marine backline here. So, really, whoever's not watching this side of the map could end up paying dearly with the squad if they're not paying attention to the grenades or anything like that. Sarge coming on for the tactical squad, and Force Commander still with no weapon. Might be overextending himself a little bit, trying to get this rear wreck point. Getting a little bit greedy. It looks like he had to retreat out of that almost immediately. In the meantime, Assault Space Marines trying to escape from these Banshees. They have no support on the field, so the Banshees and Warlock will really tear them up, deciding instead to just assault jump out of there, although those Banshees are so daggone quick that it just doesn't even matter. He needs to pull them out of there right now. I don't know if he thought they got away, but a quick knockdown by the Banshees could be the end of this Assault Space Marine squad. Warlock's closing in, and a perfectly timed shotgun blast just barely saves the life of that last Assault Squad member with 20 HP. Nice combination of the Warlock's range fire and then a grenade right there. I don't know if you saw that. He fired one range shot, knocked over a couple of the Space Marines, and then dropped a grenade right on their head. Snagged himself a kill right there, and the remaining members are pretty beat up. They're going to have to hang out in the base for a little while. So Alex playing it pretty tight now in Tier 2. Has a Wraithlord now on the field, which I think will probably be a good choice. And War Spiders coming out as well. And War Spiders will pretty much shut down the capping battle on this side of the field, I think. He can just use those to kind of watch this lane if he wants to. And they're so quick, of course, since they warp, they can just get over here to the main engagements as necessary. Wraithlord getting a bit greedy. He's staking a lot if he decides to go after that power farm with just the walker. Force Commander doesn't have a weapon yet, and as soon as he saw that Wraithlord, he knew he's going for the power fist right there. I'm sure we'll be seeing, yes, Thunder and Lightning upgrading to get the Melt-A-Bombs, anti-vehicle stickies there for the Assault Squad, and a rocket launcher as well. So all 3 of his primary attack squads getting outfitted with some sort of anti-vehicle weapon. Warlock almost going down right there. A well-timed shotgun blast as soon as his shield went down. Almost spelled doom for him. However, this Wraithlord's way out of position right now. Flesh over Steel's trying to go off. You can see that Force Commander twitching a little bit, trying to get it. But when he's walking away, he's not going to be able to pull it. He should just be using that Force Commander to beat him down. He's not going to be able to pull that off. Assault jump coming in. War Spider's there to support, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think. Force Commander trying to battle straight up. That shield might be enough to deal with it, and as soon as that Wraithlord turned around to engage, he dropped the Flesh over Steel. Unfortunately, all of his army is getting forced off by the entirety of Alex's Eldar forces here. Force Commander might go down once again, but it looks like the Banshees accidentally let him slip by on retreat. They can turn and engage those attacks, though, as soon as they please. There's enough range fire here to take them down on their own pretty much, let alone the Banshees in the retreat path. He might not be watching his Banshees, though, and they walk right into the base turrets, which is a shame, because they could have spelled certain doom for these tactical Marines over here. Guardians getting a little patch job on that Wraithlord. Space Marine shall know no fear, indeed, because those War Spiders didn't put on much of a dent to them at all. 340 to 278. And it's still anybody's game. Lots of pretty good squad preservation on either side. Rumpelstilzchen did lose that one scout squad, but other than that, looking pretty good. Both players kind of throwing a lot into some of these engagements, though. Alexx doing a little better with his Banshees now. They're, of course, leveling up, and they're just going to get more fierce as time goes on. Surprised we haven't seen a Shuriken cannon upgrade on this Wraithlord. Alexx sitting on quite a bit of resource, probably going tier 3 shortly, I'm assuming. Gonna have to be very careful with that Force Commander coming in, though. He's level 3, does have full energy, so he's gonna be able to whack away at that thing pretty easily. There goes the Flesh over Steel, and this might be a dead Wraithlord. Down it goes. That's a big loss for Alexx. Force Commander knows the job is done and chooses to fall back. Unfortunately for him, though, Swift Movement was activated, and down goes the Force Commander, censored by that one spire of rock right there. Warlock doing a great job doing some heavy damage to those assaults. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get the special attack off that he needed. Banshees shredding scouts, and the Assault Marines realize they need to get out of there before they find themselves in a bad spot. So finally seeing a Gen Bash here. Looks like this might pay off pretty well because Rumpelstilzchen just invested in a Dreadnought, and now he's not going to go in tier 3 anytime soon. In the meantime, Alexx does need to be going tier 3. He's got tons of resources, floating a lot there. Needs to get something onto the field here. And here comes an Altark, just as I mentioned that. Kind of an overt display of that call-in, however. Normally you kind of wait to engage somewhere else on the map and then drop that on a capping squad somewhere, but it did its job. It bought the Banshees time enough to get the decap on the power. These scouts might actually go down to the Altark, however, though. One member left. He's got 20 HP. She decides not to engage. She did just use her combat jump, so she's not going to be able to jump into base and finish those scouts off. In the meantime, Dreadnought shows up and scares away the rest of the Eldar army. It's intimidating enough seeing that giant robot hit the field when you don't have much in the ways of anti-vehicle. So lots of walkers hanging out here. Alexx still, I guess, maybe not quite sure what he wants to get upon seeing that Dreadnought. He's the only AV he's got is, of course, the Warp Spires and Banshees right now. Banshee's up to level 3 now. Assault Squad at level 2. Everything kind of at level 2 or level 1 for Rumpelstilzchen. But so long as he keeps that army alive, those Space Marines are going to get nastier and nastier as time goes on. Force Commander and Warlock both geared up pretty well. Warlock not with an accessory yet, but I'm sure we'll see something for him relatively soon here, as Alexx does have such a surplus of resources. And there we go. Now we're seeing that knockback put to use. Range stance on that Warlock is such a problem, and it looks like Alexx is just going to go all in trying to take out this Dreadnought. But he really needs to use these anti-infantry squads on infantry. Like, it's just a waste using Warp Spiders and Guardians to shoot at a Dreadnought. He needs to be focusing down those Assault Space Marines. And if he's not careful, everything's getting buffed right now as the Dreadnought starts knocking things out. Banshees just barely escape with a couple models, and the whole Eldar force is pushed off. Looks like we're going to have a reciprocal power bash right here. Alexx says, if I'm not going to have power, you're not either. However, or sorry, Rumpelstilzchen says that. Alexx is the one kind of saddened by this whole display right here. Dreadnought did get quite a bit of damage on it, and the scouts aren't nearby to heal it up right away, so if he pushes out relatively quickly here, he's going to be able to do something. Alexx just needs to spend his resources. If he brought something else onto the field at this point in time, he'd be able to deal with this threat, but he's kind of, looks like he's going for another Wraithlord, which he could have purchased so long ago. We're going to have to see how that pays off. There's a lot of AV on the field if that Wraithlord gets overextended again. I mean, there's Melta Bombs, the Force Commander himself, and rockets on the field, not to mention the Dreadnought. Assault Marines jumping out. The Sergeant dies on the escape jump there. Banshees realizing they don't want to stick in with that too much. Warlock getting knocked back by something. I'm not sure if that was a special attack by the Sarge or what, but it's 297 to 266 and a triple cap against the Eldar right now. Our Wraithlord's going to be coming out here shortly to help deal with that Dreadnought. And both players going to have to be very careful as there are vehicle snares from both jump squads on the field right now. Scout's going to be taking lots of damage from these Guardians. Hopefully, Rumpelstilzchen's paying attention this time, but he's gonna lose another capping squad right there. Rumpelstilzchen pretty good on his micro, except for losing those scouts here and there. That's the second squad of scouts he's now lost to Guardians. And the Guardians actually getting some nice experience for that level 3 and level 4 Guardian squads. So once they're upgraded and leveled up, they're really no slouch when it comes to range damage. Nothing like the Warp Spiders over here, of course. But oh no! It looks like this Wraithlord might be overextended once again. Oh, and the Dreadnought gets upgraded to a Melta, which I think actually probably not a bad idea. He's got enough to deal with the Banshees on the field right now. He's got, between his Force Commander and Assault Space Marines, they're pretty nasty right now. Assault Squad all the way up to level 4. Force Commander level 4 as well. So this Wraithlord gonna need to get a patch job before it goes out. And we're gonna see a second Wraithlord out here as well. So Alexx is just gonna stick it out in tier 2. And so far Rumpelstilzchen looks like he's just about ready to move into tier 3 himself. I don't think he's paying attention over here as these Warp Spiders get torn up by Assault Space Marines. They lose a soul member before they warp out of there. In the meantime, I hear Banshees screaming somewhere, trying to engage that Force Commander who's just tearing through Banshees. Space Marines shall know no fear once again on the tack squad, and those Banshees need to run for their lives. Assault Space Marines in the meantime chopping up Warp Spiders left and right. Almost took out the Guardian squad as well. One member got away from there. It looks like, yeah, it was the Warlock. And Alexx kind of getting spread thin on his micro there, not able to keep track of either engagement, and lost quite a bit of wreck unnecessarily right there. I'm surprised those assaults fell back with such low health Warp Spiders. They had plenty of energy, so all they need to do is wait for those Warp Spiders to jump once, and then hit the assault jump. That's kind of how you do it, especially if you've got the energy for the assault jump. Just charge at them, they'll naturally warp away, and then you just hit the assault jump while that warp's on cooldown and finish them off. Those Warp Spiders are so frail that all it takes is that short time of knockdown from the assault jump, and you can finish them off pretty easily. Both Wraithlords now moving in to engage Alexx, kind of devoting everything he's got. But man, look how low that first Wraithlord is. Oh, and a big shot from the Melta Cannon. Grenade going down on the tactical squad, doing heavy, heavy damage, but one of the Wraithlords goes down. If he can finish off this tack squad, it might well be worth it, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to take out all 3 members with one swipe. It looks like he's not even going to choose to do so. I think it definitely would have been worth it to try to take out that tack squad, but maybe a bit of oversight there. He wasn't able to keep his Altark on the field, and if he loses both of these Wraithlords, he's going to be regretting it big time. Rumpelstilzchen still sitting on nothing in tier 3 yet. It looks like he's saving up. At this point, I'd be willing to bet we're going to see some Assault Terminators. Warlock kind of the least able to deal with that threat as far as Eldar heroes go, I think. They're going to tear through this Wraithlord if they come onto the field. And Rumpelstilzchen just kind of been baiting these Wraithlords out, walking that Dreadnought away as the Force Commander moves in to engage, and with that Melta, we're going to see a Melta Bomb go down on here, and the Melta of the Dreadnought is going to finish it off even before the bomb explodes. It's funny, you see it kind of hang there in the air and explode after the walker's gone down. This might be it for Alexx. Alexx now down to just infantry squads. Lost his Banshees, down to just 3 range squads. Those Banshees were kind of the key to his army here, and he was just a bit too careless with them in these past few engagements. Rumpelstilzchen been doing a great job of bleeding him so far, and I'm not sure. He's going for a Wraith Guard now, and I don't know, that might be an act of desperation. Without a Shuriken or anything like that on the field, it's really going to be difficult for him to deal with that. Instead, he cancels it and goes for a Falcon, which there's just I gotta say that's not gonna be a prosperous move on his part. I think there's just too much anti-vehicle on the field between the Meltas, the Force Commander, the melted Dreadnought. And of course the tax, level 4 tax with a rocket launcher. That Falcon's going to get eaten alive unless he holds it back till tier 3, but he doesn't have any power income. Not close to tier 3. Spent so much on the 3 Wraithlords. Warp Spider's still getting some good capping in. Here comes an Altart call-in right on top of those Assault Space Marines, but it's countered by a call-in of his own from Rumpelstilzchen. Terminator Assault Squad on the field, and I think that's going to be all she wrote for the Eldar Warlock right now, unless this Dreadnought can be taken out. 140 to 217. Warp Spiders, oh no, I'm not sure he's watching the Warp Spiders. There he goes, finally warps them out. Decides to retreat both, and maybe just not quite able to keep up with the two sides of this map. And I really think that's where Rumpelstilzchen's kind of been gaining the advantage here, is those dual engagements. There's really nothing on the map, though, that can deal with this Dreadnought. The Falcon can deal with it at range, but if it starts closing in at all, it's going to need to back off. And if he gets a good flank in with either these Assault Terminators or, of course, the Assault Space Marines, and they drop a melt on this Falcon, that's going to be it for the Falcon. Force Commander's trying to move in and get the Flesh over Steel off. He's got no energy, though. Been eating too much up with that shield, and of course the merciless Witchblade not helping with that. But he's going to need to move that Falcon away as the Dreadnought closes in. Look at the damage it does. Only another shot or two of that Melta, and it's going to be long gone. If that Falcon falls, that's going to be it. It tried to escape, but oh no! There's a rocket coming anyways. It veers out of control. There were Assault Marines getting to come in from behind. That Falcon was damned either way. Alexx takes out the final squad of scouts, drops a grenade, but it's 122 to 197. He's just not going to be able to get out of there. Guardian Warlock gets one last knockdown to keep those Assault Space Marines off of the retreating Eldar squads. But I just don't see Alexx coming back at this point in the game. I do love seeing melted Dreadnoughts, though. And look at that thing, level 3. Been taking out Walker's Eldar infantry. This Melta pretty much one-shots just about all of the Eldar infantry that comes out on the field at this stage in the game. Rumpelstilzchen bringing back his scouts once again. He knows he needs something to fix up that Dreadnought at this point. Altark's going to skyleap away once again. And the War Spiders are going to have to teleport out of there lest they get defeated by those Assault Space Marines. However, it doesn't look like they're going to do it, and down they fall. And I think that's going to be the game for Alexx once and for all. There goes the end of the game. Alexx throws in the towel, and Rumpelstilzchen grabs the lead once again. Pretty fun game. I like seeing lots of walkers on the field. Unfortunately, Alexx just didn't quite use them effectively. I mean, he needed to get something more solid hard counter to deal with this Dreadnought. This Dreadnought level 4. I mean, the Guardians were level 4 as well. He did a good job keeping these guys up, but man, once he lost those Banshees, I mean, that's generally when you see the Eldar army lose their momentum is when Banshees go down, especially against Space Marine. You need something to deal with that heavy armor, and Banshees, especially with a Warlock and Swift Movement, are just exactly what the Doctor ordered for that. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the game. Fun little mid-skill battle right there. Lots of stuff exploding, lots of walkers going down. And anyways, of course, feel free to subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. I always appreciate it. And I will be catching you guys next time.